COVID-19 has impacted HRG's municipal clients in a variety of ways. Many municipal managers and finance directors are working through the challenges of developing a balanced 2021 budget amongst the uncertainties of reduced revenue and shifting expenditures. HRG has been sitting down with a variety of industry leaders to better understand strategies our municipal clients can employ to weather the economic storm. Pat Dennis, manager of Camp Hill Borough, is with us today to share his solutions that the borough has employed. Thanks for joining us, Pat.
Thanks for inviting me.
So Pat, what would you say has been the biggest challenge that your municipality has faced and developed a budget for the next fiscal year?
One of the biggest challenges we're facing is making decisions with 70% to 80% of the information. We constantly need to adapt and adjust to this evolving situation. And our goal is to try to maintain the status quo relative to service provision.
So how have you balanced the decision to provide the same level of community service with the need to cut costs?
As the borough works through their budget process, we've looked at our internal processes and identified ways where we can be more efficient and more effective. We do have 80 to 90% of unionized workforce within the borough, so they're given mandated wages increases, but we're trying not to reduce staff. So we've looked at the line items that we have in our budget and what we can afford to cut, and when we do make those cuts, what impact that has on service provision, with the goal being, how do we maintain the status quo?
So as part of that, in what ways have you evaluated spending associated with capital expenditures?
We've been focusing on short-term capital projects. For example, we're moving forward with projects necessary to meet our compliance, such as MS4, our pollution reduction plan, things like that. We've also focused on our inflow and infiltration in our sewer system. Currently, we're televising our sewer system and storm sewer system and completing a condition assessment to better understand what we're working with within the systems. This allows for the elected officials to make a more informed decision, and it allows the staff to look at what short-term projects we can undertake with the cash available to ensure that we don't have a lot of emergency issues that come up with pipe breaking, et cetera.
And I know you're also moving forward with a variety of BMP projects in order to avoid more costly regulatory fines. And the good news is that communities like yours that are located in Cumberland County and other counties that are participating in DEP's countywide action plan program, they may be able to reduce their stormwater BMP costs due to partnerships and grant opportunities that become available because Cumberland County opted into DEP's countywide action plan program. And that could be something that's beneficial for other municipalities in counties that are located in Chesapeake Bay watershed. So Pat, as part of the borough's COVID response strategy, have you changed the manner in which you fund your capital expenses?
The borough has been looking at how we can utilize and maximize debt to offset cash flow within our capital improvement fund. We're looking at both debt related to bonds as well as general bank loans that will put less strain on our current budget and enable us to continue to address needed system repairs while keeping our rates flat. That's the biggest goal, is keeping the rates flat while still providing the service. The borough is also very aggressive with grant funding. We've received funding through DCED for our streetscape plan. We've also received grants for some park projects that we've done. And we've also kind of done some cross-project management where we've implemented stormwater mitigation BMPs to help with our pollution reduction plan and MS4 requirements in park projects. So when we spend money, we're trying to maximize our return on investment from a regulatory standpoint as well as a quality of life standpoint for the residents.
That makes a lot of sense. And are there any services that you've expanded or reduced during the pandemic, and how has that impacted your budget?
We found that our insurance company viewed many of our recreational services as a liability. So in addition, we do charge fees for our summer camp programs. Unfortunately, we didn't offer them during the pandemic and during the summer as the pandemic went on. So while this does have a negative relative to revenue, it does have an offsetting expense for not having to hire the staff. But we did open the pool, which did not make money for the borough And as a result, we lost roughly $70,000 shy of what we wanted the pool to make this summer. So these are services, both recreational summer camps and programming, and the pool that we anticipate evaluating throughout 2021 into next year.
And Pat, as far as revenue goes, what strategies have you employed to make up for revenue shortfalls from reduced earned income tax and property tax?
The borough was successful in obtaining monies through the CARES Act to reimburse for excess expenses during the COVID pandemic. In addition, the borough has spent the last 18 months constructing a stormwater authority and handed all the responsibility of the MS4 regulatory compliance and stormwater infrastructure maintenance and repair to the authority. That meant that the stormwater service and a portion of the borough's pavement program cost are no longer funded through general tax revenue. So we've focused on the authority and the rate and the fee, as it were, fund stormwater, which frees up general fund proceeds that can be utilized for other necessary functions. The borough has chosen to allocate about 90% of those savings, about $350,000, towards a subsidy that's transferred to the Stormwater Authority to help keep the rates stagnant, as the authority and the borough feel that during the pandemic, that while service provision is important and we want to continue to do our regulatory projects and other projects, that we need to maintain a rate that is stable and cost effective to residents.
That's a great point regarding the use of stormwater fees, because service fees like this help create a positive cash flow into your general fund, and they're also a more equitable way to distribute the cost amongst property owners. So prior to the implementation of your fee, your for-profit businesses and your residents shouldered the burden of funding stormwater alone, but by implementing a fee, the cost is allocated based upon level of service, which means your residents are now saving about 40% versus what they would have paid to fund stormwater through a tax increase.
That's exactly right. Property owners are now paying based upon the level of service they are receiving. It's a more fair solution, and it better enables the general fund revenue to cover essential functions during the pandemic. Also, we've seen that fee revenue is more stable and reliable in times like this, as opposed to revenue received that comes from taxes. In my experience, there's also less of a pushback from property owners when they have a specific service-based fee. This means implementing a stormwater fee. It means a millage dedicated specifically to paving, or a fire tax, a millage dedicated towards a fire tax, that residents seem to understand better than a general property tax increase.
Pat, thanks so much for joining us today and for sharing these ideas. You've given us a lot of great solutions to think about, including focusing on projects that will help reduce operating costs and maintain regulatory compliance, maintaining your investment and condition assessment in order to target your dollars where they provide the most benefit, financing some projects with debt to free up cash flow for other needs, passing those dedicated fees to reduce the burden on general tax revenue, which may be less than in years past, and looking at ways to cut non-labor costs in order to maintain level of service as best you can. We really appreciate your time.
My pleasure.
Hopefully these solutions will be of benefit to other municipalities as they develop their budget for the upcoming year. We'd love for other municipal and industry leaders to share their ideas in the comment section below. And you can also visit our website to explore other solutions for weathering the financial challenges associated with COVID-19.